Hi everyone, thank you again for stopping in to watch today's video. I really appreciate you taking some time to watch it. In today's video, I'm going to do some voiceover on one of my latest trips out on the lake since getting the boat fixed. So on today's episode, it's, early pre-spawn. You could even say it's still part of late winter, but today is all about throwing the Alabama rig. So I basically started in this little cove area. There was a ton of bait, ton of shad. So I ended up starting here and it worked out quite well for me. Turns out that day I was fishing in a little local tournament and wanted to try to, see how I could do. Ended up catching 4 fish, and you'll be along to get to see each one of those. So right here you can see that I am hooked up on the first one. Turns out this one ended up being about a 3 1/4 pound largemouth. It's a beautiful fish. Caught it on the white color. So going back to kind of how I rig my A-rigs, and I'll leave a link to my actual rigging setup video up in the corner here. But I rig up my A-rigs so that I have 3 separate colors of swim baits running at all times. Most of the time, I will always run a natural, whether that be something like Smallmouth Magic, Pro Blue, something of that nature. Then I'll run a solid white, typically that is Sight Flash. And then as my third color, I use a very bold chartreuse, whether that be chartreuse and blue, chartreuse shad, sour grape, something of that nature. So you can kind of tell, and I've actually stayed in this entire area. I caught all of my fish in this one area throughout the day, with the exception of one, which was too short to really weigh in. It was about a 12-inch largemouth, so it went back. But everything was caught within a 2-hour period that morning. The water temperatures that day ranged. It started out early that morning at about 48 to 49 degrees, and it creeped up into the low 50s. So perfect time for the A-rig. We had overcast day, and you'll kind of see a little bit later on in the video, we actually end up getting some rain moving on in. And we did get a little bit of wind, but nothing too bad to where you couldn't really keep the boat on your spot. So if you'll notice with this fish, it's not really a very hard, bite. As you'll notice, I kind of lifted the A-rig up a little bit and the fish was already there. So just be very cautious and conscientious when you're fishing even an A-rig, that they could grab the bait and just simply go with you. They don't always just really give you a very strong bite to be able to indicate that they're on there. So being present and watching your line, watching how it feels and everything. And here is a second fish that did the exact same. So once again, they're just barely, very subtly biting these. So with this fish, this was a very interesting bite to me because I'd never really had this happen to me before in this kind of scenario. This is the first time I've actually been successful doing this. I managed to catch the fish, and then the fish basically nosedived into some timber that was heavily populated underneath the lake. This particular lake has a lot of standing timber. It's got a lot of, brush down deep, so it's very easy for you to get hung. And this fish went straight for as much of and is into the thick of the bushes and brush and everything. So it was quite an ordeal trying to do this. So I was expecting I was going to have to break my line to be able to get the A-rig out. But all this time I was able to feel the pressure of the fish still on the bait. So, as you can kind of tell, I'm slowly working my way into trying to get this fish out, hand lining the line to bring the log up. I actually end up having to bring the tree up with the fish, ever so slowly, trying to not snap the line as I go. And this goes into also, this would make a really good point of having good line, or at least taking care of your line. Because you never know when you'll actually have to hand line a fish into the boat. So as you can see here, I've kind of grabbed it. You can kind of see a little bit of the tree there. It was hooked on one of the 3 hooks. Here in Tennessee, we're only allowed to throw a 3-hook A-rig. So, turns out this fish actually ended up going for my second largest of the day. It ended up weighing a little bit less than that first one. But real pretty healthy largemouth. So here you can see as it started raining a little bit later that afternoon. And I was fishing solo that day, so that's kind of why you're seeing me grabbing the net and so on. I ended up doing quite well in the tournament. I had a little bit over 9 pounds for 4 fish, which on this particular day, a lot of people had a pretty rough day, including myself. I couldn't catch that 5th fish. Had I been able to get one more, it would have probably put me into the top 5. But win some, you lose some. So this fish was the smallmouth that I'd caught. I managed to only catch 1 smallmouth that day. I weighed in 2 largemouth, 1 smallmouth, and then 1 spotted bass. I think I caught 7, maybe 8 fish throughout the day, but once again, going back to a tournament situation, only being allowed to weigh in legal length fish. This will be the last fish catch of the video, and this one is the spotted bass. This spotted bass was actually just about the size of the largemouth. It was a very, very large spotted bass. It ended up being just under 15 inches long. So a pretty good size for a spotted bass in our area. As the day went on, the conditions changed some, and it warmed up some, and the rain eased off a little bit, off and on throughout the day. We had some rain, but the bite really never picked up again after that morning flurry for myself. I had about 2 hours where I caught every fish that I weighed in between 7 and 9 a.m. So, this echoes that other point. You just never know when they're going to start biting, but getting there early, you're at least kept capturing in on that early bite window. This tournament took place in early March, so as we're progressing through, you'll kind of get a see as to how some of my tactics change as far as getting ready to go into the pre-spawn and really getting ready to be able to do a lot more of the bigger swim bait fishing. I did throw a bigger swim bait that day, but really not with any success. So hopefully within the next coming weeks and months, we'll be able to get on some much better and much more of the big swim bait bite and be able to put the A-rig down a lot more. But I really appreciate everyone taking some time to watch today's video. I really do appreciate it. And please hit that thumbs up. That really helps with the algorithm being able to give us, grow the channel and build this community that we are building. As well as hit that little subscribe button and notification bell. That'll keep you up to date whenever new videos are released. And I appreciate it. And I'll see everyone in the next video.